It makes sense. Everything does. Travis is smart in the same ways that I am. I run up to him, put my project down on the floor, and throw my arms around him. Pretty happy to avoid the school bus, huh? He laughs. I'm just really happy to see you, that's all. And I hug him one more time, but tighter. His face questions me. Wait a second, I say. I'll be right back. And I turn and run before he can answer. I run because I just have to. This can't wait until tomorrow. I sprint down the hallway, ignoring someone far behind me telling me to slow down. I approach my classroom, grab the door frame, and swing into the room out of breath. Mr. Daniels looks up from his work surprised. Allie? I step up to the side of his desk. I reach into my pocket and pull out the worn piece of paper that says possible. You're still carrying that? He asks. And smiles big. Please, Mr. Daniels, I tell him, you have to help. I'll do anything. He stands. What's wrong, Allie? Please help my brother. I take a step forward. He needs to learn to read too. I think of the poster in Miss Silver's office, Mr. Daniels' hand reaching for mine and mine reaching for Travis. Of course, Allie. I'm happy to help your brother. I'm happy to help. Your brother's picking you up today, right? I nod, feeling so grateful for Mr. Daniels. I wonder if he knows that I came to sixth grade wondering what would ever become of me. Now I have dreams I know I'll chase down. I'll set the world on fire someday and come back here and tell him so. Okay, he says, you go ahead. I'll be down in a minute to talk with him about what we can do. I run from the room but slow down, thinking, aware of every step. Eventually, I'm back at the gym, back to my big brother, who has stood by me and helped me always, who's believed in me no matter what, I said. Travis is standing there with his hand in his pockets, looking up at the light streaming through the windows across the top of the gym. I watch him for a while. Finally, he sees me smile. He sees me and smiles. I hand him the tattered piece of paper that says possible. Here, this belongs to you now. He looks confused. For me? Mr. Daniels isn't far behind me. He shakes Travis's hand. Hello there, Travis. I've heard a lot about you. He looks down at me. Quite a little sister you have here. Travis does that half smile. Yeah, she is. So Mr. Daniels says, apparently, Allie thinks we should talk. Okay, he says, brushing his chin with his knuckles. Mr. Daniels explains to him what we do after school and invites him to join us. I look up. Travis swallows hard and nods. I knew Travis would be brave enough to say yes. A mind movie lights up in my head of our last name, written in neon lights in the window of Travis's new place. And there's another mind movie of me being happy, reading and making my art and finding a special alley-shaped place in the world. But these mind movies won't go into my sketchbook of impossible things because I know they will actually happen. I lean my back against my big brother and feel his hands on my shoulders. Their voices seem to fade as I look up at the light streaming through the windows. Things are going to be different. It's like birds can swim and fish can fly. Impossible to possible. All right, guys, that was the last chapter. I'm definitely going to leave a discussion post for the end of this book. I want to know what you guys thought of it. What did you like about it? What would you guys like to read next? I'm going to leave that there as well in a Flipgrid, I think. I do want to go ahead and just share the sketchbook of impossible things. I'll try to take some pictures. They did include that here. Some of the funny things she talked about. But real quick, I do want to share with you guys the author's note. Okay, so dear readers, like so many other adults, I started out as a kid. I was typical in a lot of ways, being a girl whose companions were often her older brother or a neighborhood full of boys. I became good at climbing trees, skateboarding, and basketball. On a skateboard or holding a bat at the plate at the bottom of the ninth, I was confident. I felt like I could handle and even excel at what I was doing. But sitting at a school desk was often a different experience. I remember sitting back and scanning the other kids in the class, wondering why I couldn't be more like them. How were they able to do their work so quickly? By the time I was Allie Nickerson's age, I remember sitting at our dining room table, staring at my brother's high school textbooks, and wondering how I would ever get through. Like Allie, I wondered what would become of me. Then, as a sixth grader, I was placed in class with Mr. Christie, who would later serve as my model for Mr. Daniels. Little did I know he would change the path of my life. Why? Because he changed my perception, how I viewed myself, And that was powerful. My perception was that the other kids were just better. I learned later that they weren't. Being better at taking tests didn't make them better, it just made them better test takers. But at first, I let those negative thoughts seep in. I began to assume that I wouldn't be good at things. So I went through a time when I didn't try as hard as I could. I just figured it didn't matter. However, Mr. Christie had confidence in me. He had me he had me tutor younger kids. He handpicked books for me to read and helped me move out of the lowest reading group. He smiled when I walked into the room. After a while, I began to mirror his confidence in me and left his class ready to set the world on fire. We all have both our special talents and areas we need to work a bit harder. Honestly, I've learned more from and have been ultimately successful because of my failures. Things will not always be easy. Sometimes we do fail, but it isn't failing that makes you a failure. It's staying down that does. The ability to stand up, brush yourself off, and try again is a huge strength. It's something that will take you very far in your life, very far indeed. If you develop a habit of standing up and trying again, just imagine the phenomenal things that could be in store for you. Thank you for picking up a fish in the tree. I do hope you have enjoyed meeting Allie, Keisha, Albert, Mr. Daniels, and the others. And remember, great minds don't think alike. Take care, Lydia. So I hope you guys enjoyed Fish in a Tree. Again, I'm going to leave a discussion there for you guys. You guys enjoy the rest of your day. And then on Friday, I will be book talking 2 new books and allowing you guys to vote. Okay, so be looking for that. Thanks, guys.